Hey, I'm Joe Mullikin, and I want to welcome you back to Life Mentored, the podcast where we provide space where it's time for people to share their stories, the real life stories from real life people, because we've been sold a lie that our story doesn't matter, that if it's not the most grandiose or if it's not famous, that story that we have that sits, it doesn't have value. And we are in the midst of being the loneliest generation. And as we exist as the loneliest generation, I think it becomes incumbent upon us to make sure that we create spaces where we can provide the opportunity for people to belong and for them to feel a little bit less alone. I had the privilege of being able to speak today and about a week ago. And, as I think back, you think of the Ikigai and that Japanese principle of like, what's in your core. And for me, it's the desire to provide a spot, provide a place, provide an environment where people feel like they belong. Not that they're just welcome, that they belong. That it's a place that they can go to, that not only are they able to be there without shame, but they're able to be authentic to themselves. And I think so many times we carry so much baggage and so much shame about things that we've put onto ourselves. And that's one of the biggest reasons why this became a passion project for me. Why this has all started is I listen to other people's stories. And I listen to a lot of them because I was lonely too. Because I felt alone. Because I felt like I was the only one that maybe could relate to something. And so as we exist in our culture and our society that exists at a low level of emotional intelligence a lot of times, at a societal level, not that all people have that, but we have a you versus me mentality a lot of times. There has to be a winner and a loser all the time and everything. And I'm not against having winners in certain scenarios, but think in life and in our being and in who we are authentically, we have to accept and love the fact that there shouldn't be winners and losers. That the only way that we do win is that when we do it together. And one thing I talked about was, we all have different personality types. Whether you resonate with Enneagram or Myers-Briggs or DISC or Working Genius or StrengthsFinder, whatever it might be. At the end of the day, we don't want to build communities, teams, schools, companies, leadership teams, groups, where everybody's the same. It's the beauty that exists in the differences that really is what makes life beautiful. And it's the beauty of us recognizing who we are. Because when we say that our story doesn't matter, the reason I'm so passionate about it is if we say our story doesn't matter, what that kind of means as well is there's a lot of other stuff that doesn't matter about us. Because our story is what makes us who we are. Our story and our lived experiences are the things that paint the picture and the mural and create the beauty that is each individual person. And to me, from my perspective, if we look back at that and say, yeah, like your story doesn't matter, this part of you doesn't matter, then what we're doing is saying like we are fine with different parts of the puzzle just not being in place. And I use the example that like I am really good at having ideas. Or if I think of the Working Geniuses from Patrick Lencioni, like wonder and galvanizing, like thinking about the ideas, the hopes, the things that are out there, and then trying to get people excited to get that's my wheelhouse. That's where I want to be. Finishing the project, not so much. That's the ADHD coming out in me right there, right? Like finishing that project, getting to the very end, that's not always my biggest strength. But when I had the ability to work and was working in a school district as the acting superintendent incoming, our director of operations and safety, her greatest skill, one of them was tenacity, this ability to really grind through the end and see things through, to cross the T's, dot the I's. And it worked great together because we had different strengths. The beauty of that is that when we recognize that other people have those strengths and we recognize that their lived experiences actually benefit all of us collectively together, that's where we see the beauty. That's where we see that all of our stories and our lived experiences have to matter. Because when all of them matter, that's when we get to the beauty that is the absolute tapestry of humanity. The fact that we don't need to keep up with the Joneses, that we don't need to, and I fall into that trap, but like we don't need to do those things. We want stories from everyday people to relate to so that we feel less alone, because some of us are going through some of the same things. But if this was just me telling my story over and over again, no one would listen ever. And I don't know how many people listen to this right now, but when people tell their stories, every time they're going to resonate with different people. They're going to resonate in a different way with each person, with me, with you. And that's the beauty of this, is that all of our stories matter. Because each and every one of those little stories, think of Kathy's story that you'll hear in a few weeks about teaching in the same position for 30 years in the same building, same grade level, and finding joy and passion through the great times and through the struggles. But the joy that she found in everything she did, the excitement of being able to do that. Thinking about Eric's story that you'll hear about him walking through some of a messy middle in life and coming out on the other side to help and build others. It's these little stories that build up this beautiful tapestry that allow these amazing things to happen. We weren't meant to do this alone. And because we weren't meant to do this alone, we can't be everything. We can be anything, but the best thing to be is just you. And so my hope in this is that as we continue to move forward, that this is a place where space is provided for people to share their stories, for people to share their lived experiences, so that we can all relate in our own ways, in our own unique journeys, to be able to sit there and go, I'm a little bit less lonely, a little bit less alone, a little more authentically me, and I have a little bit less shame, a little bit less guilt than I had before. Because in the end, all that we're doing is done better together, and done better when that tapestry is weaved together in community. I can't wait for you to hear stories as they start to come out next week and moving forward. I can't wait for you to hear the amazing journeys that people have had. I'm excited for you to join this. I hope that you'll take this ride with me. I'm Joe Mullikin, and this is Life Mentored.